Hey everyone, welcome back to talking about life and junk while playing web fishing. Today, we're just going to be chilling here playing web fishing again. Because that's what I do, and I like to talk about serious topics or sometimes like that. Considering last time we played this, I have definitely teared up and cried while talking about certain things, and I'm very, very sorry about that. I can't really, control my emotions there, mostly because, it's a tough topic to talk about because especially what I've gone through and all that. And I'm very grateful the amount of positivity and the amount of responses I've gotten to the video. Um, and it's very, very heartwarming from the amount of responses I've gotten. Even on my Blue Sky, whenever I first put out the thumbnail, and it got so many likes, and I'm very thankful for it. And let's see, from the amount of responses I've gotten to it, I'm very happy to have all of you with me, and all that. I have said this countless times, but I can't really express it enough. Did it stop raining? Oh, yep, it did. Great. Oh, yeah. I, I added new eyes to my character because I unlocked this while playing with a couple of friends. I think yesterday-ish. I don't recall. But yeah, so today I would like to get out my thoughts for all of these responses and give follow-ups on certain topics that I've talked about. Um, so thank you very much to those who ended up messaging me after them watching the video. I appreciate all of you. Um, then there's a couple things that I like to talk about. Like the whole year of 2018 was definitely a tough time for me. I can explain that, but it's just a lot of things because I, of course, whenever I vent about it to people about the year 2018, they're so confused. It's like, oh, what happened there? I just don't mention it. The only thing that I can really talk about is that I basically got my start through Fortnite, and Fortnite definitely was a soft spot for me back then because I finally got to play it on my own because it was on the Switch and I had the Switch, and I had a few people. Like I had a few friends that I could finally play with on the game, and we played it nonstop all the time. And it was like the funnest experience ever. And we played from like season 4, chapter 1, and I still play it to this day, but just under a different alias. And I think I this is funny talking about, but it was a name of mine that I had inspired by Simple Flips. I called myself this idiot, and, and it was like a really funny name that I had for the time. But the thing is, people would think I'm just insulting myself, which is not what I want. So I have to explain to them, no, I just watch Simple Flips. And I think what was it? I think legitimately I put this idiot, and the thing is, like that name was already taken. So I was like, oh okay. So then I go on the keyboard and I just type a bunch of numbers. Thus I got to 876293. And those numbers are genuinely engraved in my brain. Like, those random assortment of numbers genuinely gave me like a soft spot for that number in specific. It got me to where I am and a bunch of other things. And it was basically my first alias. Well, it wasn't really my first alias. I had a couple more aliases. Like from what I remember, I was under the alias Sonic Fan 21 on the Wii U. I think and then there's a couple of other ones that I do recall. But like that's the only one I really remember, and I remember going to Twitch channels back then. I remember seeing a guy called Flapjack Gamer or something like that, Twitch channel. I don't know how they're doing now, but like I was there for every stream and stuff like that, and genuinely it was such a fun time. I don't know how he's doing now, but hopefully he's doing well. I do remember him playing a game called like whatchamacallit. It was a PS2 game. Um, actually no, was it a GameCube? Yes, Winnie the Pooh's Rumbly Tumbly Adventure for the GameCube. He was playing that on stream, and it was the funniest like thing ever. And I genuinely think like, I just had like the most funnest time there. It was so funny. And I think what else? But enough about my old aliases. It's to talk about 2018 in general. So it was fun. I genuinely had a lot of fun playing Fortnite and a bunch of other things, and it was pretty neat. And then a few seasons roll by, and then I eventually got to what season was it? It was season 6, where I met these group of people that are like part of a clan, and it's like, oh, anyone can join the clan. You just gotta put put these letters in, and then boom, you're in. I thought that was cool. So I went ahead and did it. and, and I just had the clan tag with this idiot on it. I decided to change my name to something else. Because by that time, this was about season 7. And this is going to be tough to like talk about. I had a skin called Grimbles. He was like a little gnome fella. And it was a really funny skin. I still admit that. It's a pretty funny skin. And I just named myself after the skin, kind of, and put the clan under it after, and boom. And then I made a Discord account for the first time. I have no bait. Hang on, and I immediately joined the server with the community the clan has, and they were like the nicest people ever. Some people I do remember um, are people like Chris, Woody. Um, there's a couple of more, but I'd rather not explain. And we just had like a really fun time, like talking to each other. One of them was a moderator. No, 2 of them were. And I met them, and they were like a lot of fun to like interact with. And they were pretty nice people. And I think like, what was it? It was like, I don't know how to like really explain it, but there was like so much that went on, and I thought it was really neat. We had a bunch of events together. We talked to each other, and a bunch of other things. We have this like, we've had these like custom game things. I always enter in them, and I loved it. I loved everything about it, and I thought it was like a ton of fun. So I stuck around for years, and years, and it was cool. It was cool. I loved it. Eventually, I became a moderator for that server. I did lose a couple of sleeps. I did lose sleep because I expected to just be doing like full-time moderation. I don't know why I did that, but I did. I lost sleep. I stayed up all night during school nights, nonetheless, and I did kind of excuse me. I did kind of pass out during those like little sessions for moderations. Actually, no, not even like moderations, just like in school. What I mean, I did pass out during classes, and I did get in trouble, so that was on me. But I stopped staying up nonetheless because they did get more moderators that can do like night stuff because they're in a different time zone than me. So like my night is their day. And it was pretty neat. And eventually like stuff happened. I don't know. I still don't get what it was. But it was one of the moderators and this one woman and with the clan owner or something like that. I don't want to assume the worst, but the way they explained it makes it seem like it's not like what you expect it to be, but it's something else, and it was weird. So blah 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 blah. We made a new server with Chris and a couple of other people, and what was it? We we chilled there. We were like having a blast. We were like interacting with such. And a couple days gone by, and so we had we had a full grown adult in there. We had a I think at the time a 23-year-old. Crazy, I know. And then we had Chris. I don't remember how old Chris was back in the day. About like 16ish, 17ish. I don't remember. Yeah, no. It was actually no. I think he was like 15 or 16. And then we had this British kid. He was from the UK, and I don't remember where he was at. I think like Birmingham. I think I don't remember. But yeah, we just had all those four people, and then we had this guy I think who lives in Puerto Rico. Yeah. I remember. Yeah, he lived in Puerto Rico, and yeah, it was we had a fun time, and eventually the group became more negative and like so like narcissistic. It's kind of weird, and I was just there, and the way I act now is the way I act back then. By the way, and it was fun, and eventually it became all negative, and I didn't like that. And but this was at like a later time after that, and I do think that what was it? It was something like an incident happened and we all had to move groups. That's all. Like we had to abandon someone, blah blah blah. That's it. And yeah, so it was really weird from back then. Like we had this server called like the Hangout or something like that. I know the full name, but I'm just not gonna say it. And I think what was it? They had like a ton of channels. We had a thing called the Safe Zone, which had all of us from the group, because it was a server that like every other person can join if they ask. But like the Safe Zone is where like our group really shined there, and we have a ton of like VCs there, and that's where I ended up like first playing Friday Night Funkin', and I can't help but to thank like that server for genuinely making me find out Friday Night Funkin' exists. I think it was around the week 2 update is when I found out it existed. Because I loved Spooky Month. I loved the Spooky Kids, like Skid and Pump and all that. Because I love that series so much, and I still do. I still really do love it. And then during that time, there was like a ton of incidents that I do frankly recall, like them having a NSFW channel when one of them is clearly a full-grown adult, and the other two being like minors. It's weird. I genuinely thought it was weird, but I didn't speak up about it because they were like so negative and they like bully me. But however, Chris was the only one who really understood, and he gets that. But then out of nowhere, some incident happened where they were having arguments with the other two people, and genuinely like he just started being racist to them. It was insane, and I think that day alone, it was. I remember the date for that. It was. What day was it? It was the 10th. No, it was not. Hang on. November 18th, right? Yeah, November 18th. And I was thinking it was September, but no, an incident happened on that day, and which the guy was just genuinely racist. He was spouting out slurs and stuff, and I like my eyes like genuinely like I was like traumatized because like I didn't expect that at all. No one did. Because he never acted like that before. He never said something like that. And even beforehand, it's like when they had drama between people, he wasn't like racist at all. He was just like, just genuinely like being torn up about it. And I would stay like comforting him, talking to him, asking if he's alright, and a bunch of other things. But he was never like that. Thus, we had to completely cut him off. We had to cut off Chris because of it. And we immediately went to VC talking about it, and I just said nothing. I did nothing for like the whole day because I was just genuinely in shock. I was like completely shaken up. I was like genuinely like physically shaking about it. Like it was an insane time. It was scary. And after that incident, that's when the group went downhill, and I remember I had to deal with all of this during the years 2018 all the way until 2022, or 2021 rather. Early 2022, I say around February is when it just ended. And I think what was it? I think like the amount of negativity that spiraled there after the incident is insane. Like we had movie nights there every once in a while. I remember specifically there was we watched Spider-Man Homecoming together, and it was a fun time. But eventually we just stopped doing events out of nowhere, and we just kept playing Fortnite. Because Fortnite was still like, I'm on the edge actually. Fortnite was actually just like a little point where we could just all play together and stuff like that. And it was a fun time. Well, not really. Like, I think like it eventually got like to the point where I had to just like train for some reason for because like this was obviously a time where builds only was the main focus because zero build wasn't out at that time. And what was it? It was like it was how do I explain this? Like I had to like do like build training maps, I had to do editing maps and stuff like that. I had to change my keybinds completely. No, not keybinds, just binds on like a controller, which I still have those settings on to this day. But then there was like a couple of other incidents. Like eventually I had to be forced to like the moment I got out of school at like 2, it was like 8 o'clock for the no, it was 9 o'clock for the British kid, and I got out at like 2:30, and by the time I go back home it's like 3, and 10 o'clock is basically the kids bedtime. And and then I was basically like forced to run all the way from school to my house, and it takes about like nearly half an hour to get back to my house from where my high school is. So I walked to school and I walked back home from school, basically. And I was pretty much forced to just do that, or else like they would genuinely harass me and target my family and a bunch of other things. Like they'd like say a bunch of things that like made me feel sort of way. Like it would make me feel bad. And at that point I put others before myself, and it was kind of like sad looking back. I just did not care for myself whatsoever. I only cared about making others happy, not even myself, which led me to like being depressed all the time. And like I said, I did attempt suicide, and that was the reason why. Then there came an incident where like they basically forced me to like steal like one of my family members' credit cards and just spend it on the game to get stuff. for them and for myself, saying, "Oh, I should get this, I should get that, I should get all of this, blah 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 blah." I was manipulated into doing that. And that problem is still brought up within my family to this day. And, well, at least to my brother, he would constantly just bring it up for some reason, like during, like, say, a conversation, like during while we're in a restaurant or something like that, and it genuinely hurts me. I don't know why it's like so often that he would like just genuinely like bring it up when I was manipulated into doing so. I have tried to I have tried to explain that. I explained that to the person I did it to, being my nana, and I explained it to her, and she completely understands because she knew that wasn't how I act, and it was something else going on behind the scenes. And I'm very grateful that she understood. Like, I'm very grateful, because that time was pure hell for me, and I did not like that at all. And I'm very grateful some people understood what was going on, but I'm upset that it gets constantly brought up sometimes, and it's just strange, and I didn't like that at all. But that was a thing that happened, and every other night I would spend like $25, $30, $40 every single night at about a certain time because they told me everyone was asleep at that time and I could do it with no consequences. And I was like, how old was I? I was like 15 during the time, 14, right? Because I'm 18 right now, so yeah, like I was like so young, and they did that to me. So I wasn't raised the best, like through social medias or media in general, since I was on Discord back then, and they just forced me to do all that. And the only person I've really explained that to was my nana, which was the person affected, because I used her card to do that. And it's like, I'm looking back and I'm like, Jesus, it wasn't my fault, but I like put the blame. The thing is, whenever they found out, I had to put myself to blame. And the thing is, it was unfortunate timing because this was like the time where I attempted suicide and they were trying to get me help. And the thing is, I had to blame myself for it. And that's when they like just like stopped making me get help. They thought I was doing this for attention. And they thought I was doing this to like make them not focus of what I was actually trying to do, and that wasn't it at all. That really wasn't it. I attempted suicide because of them, and I did what I did because of them. And they didn't really understand that until I tried to explain it to them. But it's kind of unfortunate nonetheless, because it just still gets brought up without even realize how much it really affects me. And me being reminded of them just genuinely like harms me. And it kind of sucks. And genuinely, it turned from like every other day to like to deal with these things all the way until I had to deal with it for every single day for the next 2 years, by the way. They kept doing this every single day. I had no time to spend with my family. I had no time to be around other friends. I had no time to spend after school hanging out with my other friends, doing whatever. And I had no time just having time for myself. And it sucked. It genuinely sucks. And I like am very grateful to have the time I have now. Because I'm fully grown. I've matured fully. Unlike back then. And it's tough looking back, and God, it was so bad. Remember, I had to deal with this all the way from 2018 to 2022. You can imagine how young I was. And I think like, what was it? And then like by the time I just had enough is when I eventually just quit the internet. I cut them off. And from back when I was with someone, and because I only had the messages app to talk to that someone and other people as well, and and yeah, we were together at once, at one point in time, and and then like eventually like it's gone to the point where they like stalked my social medias, and the only other way I had was a private account, which ended up being this identity that I have currently. Because I had a private account at first before I made a public account. And the current one I have on my Twitter was my public account, like the second account I made, but the first one ended up becoming a private account. And then eventually I deactivated that account and then I made a new one. Because Twitter Circles was completely removed, and I hate that. I still hated that decision. But like, back then, whenever I first made it, they stalked my accounts heavily, trying to figure out where I was. Even one of my other friends, like I was on Twitter just liking, like just looking at posts. I couldn't even like posts because they would notice a simple change, and they would like try to DM me about it. But so I just stopped. And like it's so weird. And eventually I just deleted the app, and then I just gone on to what did I do? I have no bait. Hang on. I eventually went to just sticking with messages and YouTube and stuff like that, so I can actually just like have some entertainment while I'm just gone. Because the only thing I quit the internet for was to quit the because back then I genuinely did content creation. I had a lot of videos. Me and them actually did Gmod videos back then, and it was a fun time. And on the second part of the Gmod video, I had like a thank you message to every single one of them to tell them how much like I've loved them, like as like a friend, because they were like genuinely around me like for like such a long time, because this is back when Chris was in the group and it was just so positive. Hang on, there's a whoops, there's a meteor back there. But I just genuinely had like thank you messages to all of them, and they knew that it had a positive effect on them, but it just kind of spiraled out of control. And it's kind of like whoops. It's kind of like whatchamacallit. And those incidents just completely changed me, and I felt like I was just done. And with that, excuse me, it was kind of like just all of those incidents that have occurred within that time frame just sucks. And but however, I can just thank it enough because it generally made me become who I wanted to be in life. And with that, like after all the stalking things, I eventually got notified that pretty much all of them committed suicide. At first, I was shocked, but for about a few hours contemplating, I just did not care. So yeah, it was kind of a strange way for that whole group to end. However, one of them is still alive, and it's Chris. They still interact on Twitter and such, but they're just still racist, so I just refrain on even talking to them. But hey, this was years ago. They were 16 at the time, and they obviously wasn't really matured yet. I think they're fully grown now, and I do think he regrets it. I honestly do think he regrets ever saying that, because he has told me that he hasn't grown up in the best family, he grew up like around like genuine like terrible people, and this was just another bullet to the head. And like from the amount of stuff that happened to him, it led him to be part of like a terrible place on the internet, which got him into that vocabulary, and he thought it was like there was no consequences to that in a way. But it's those effects that take a heavy toll on your life and your mental state, and it makes you believe things that aren't really true, obviously. And I just kind of strayed away from that. I don't even want to like talk to them because this is just a new life for me. Like I abandoned my old alias to be here and to like be who I want to be, and it kind of stinks. It kind of like sucks, like talking about everything, because I obviously haven't been open about my past, and 2020, the years 2018 all the way to 2022 was the main one that made me become who I became today. So it was kind of, it's a lot, and a bunch of other things, and just like the amount of like things that you have to deal with through media is just a lot. Because if you're in some place in the internet and some place in social media, it's obviously gonna take a toll on your mental health and a bunch of other things, and it makes you like so negative about yourself. Because later on you're gonna like go back to it and it's like, oh, why did I do that? And you're just gonna beat yourself up about it at the end of the day, and I don't really want that for people. Because people have regrets. I have regrets. I have regrets of ever making an account back then and just meeting all of them. I have regrets of making blaming myself than people on the internet, but even then, I don't think they would have believed me, and they would have just grounded me until like for years and years on end. And and I just have like a bunch more regrets that I can't really talk about because they're more so personal. And but yeah, no, it's just those years in general have just been terrible. And I hope me explaining all of it just makes you guys understand that like I fear the same things would happen to my friend group. That's why I get upset. That's why I get mad when like some things happen. Like when a problem happens and we're so diverse and we're like in a place where we're like sometimes we're like separated. I hate that because it reminds me of when everyone else just abandoned Chris and I was there to like comfort him before the incident happened. I had two places to be. I had to be in one call, then I had to be in the next call, then I had to be in another call, then I had to be in the next call, then I have to DM him, then I have to DM them, I have to DM them, a bunch of other things. And anything that reminds me of it just genuinely angers me. And with a whole bunch of things like a certain word just genuinely like making me just like genuinely mad, and I'm just like, oh, don't say that, don't say that, don't say that word, don't say that word, don't say that word. Because it was part of my old like identity on the internet. And them saying that word in specific is just like making me like upset. And and I think they know that cuz I think I've explained for a few people of why I don't like that. And I don't want to explain it to other people because I'm afraid they might just like go out of the way to find me, to find my old alias, because it's still all up. All of it is still up. My old alias and a bunch of other things, they're still up to this very day. And the thing is, I just don't want people to look for it. Because when they do, I'm just going to genuinely be haunted by it for the rest of my life. And it's like strange whenever like I can't even take that seriously. Why? My friend Rudy's pop up, but no, it's just like those just genuinely took an effect on me, and I'm still kind of traumatized about it. And it's just the way things happen, and like the amount of effects that social media can really bring you from who you're around and what you interact with is genuinely scary. Because you just beat yourself up about it until the end of time, and it kind of sucks, or until you just like get over it eventually, which is what I did. I got over it, but I just look back and just like am filled with deep hatred, and just I'm just filled with regret, and it kind of sucks. And talking about it with you guys is just like genuinely tough to talk about because no one knows my past and no one knows what I'm affected by. But now that I'm talking about it now, I think I'm just over it. I think I'm just done with it, and it doesn't really have an effect on me anymore because they're just gone now. Like the people who I just talked about it, the people who I've been manipulated by, and a bunch of other things. Like those people that manipulated me, they're dead. And that's kind of a shock to me. Even saying it now, like, oh wow, they're really dead. But it's like, what more can I really say besides that I'm just glad they're gone. I don't want any other person being harmed by them within the community. And it kind of sucks. Oh, and it kind of sucks being around a community that's like has a bad reputation, and you just can't really do anything about it, and a bunch of other things. Because I obviously want to meet like people. I obviously want to meet like idols of mine. Like even in other communities, there's other people. Like in the Vib Urban community, there's Vibery Rabbit and a bunch of other people. Then there's Cody D Bunny, and then and a bunch of other things. Like I want to meet like game creators. I want to meet like content creators and stuff like that. And it's kind of like what I want to do because I either grew up with them or just like I just felt huge inspiration from them. And whoops. And just having inspirations is not a bad thing. And having idols is not a bad thing either. It's just you have to like grow up with these types of people. Like sometimes you have to live with the good and bad, but you have your idols who like the people you watch, the like music you listen to, the artists you like listen to and stuff like that. You have those to like be around with, and they're them being idols to you is definitely a good thing and something that'll make you like keep living, you know. And the thing is, me having idols is a common thing. I have a lot of people. Like within communities I'm in, I have a lot of inspirations. And even in other medias like video games and stuff, those inspire me. Like we played the Yakuza games. Like I played all the way from 0 all the way to Like a Dragon Guide and the Man Who Erased His Name. And me and a couple of friends ended up watching it all the way from 0 to now. And it was such a blast, to be honest. But like the games just genuinely make me cry sometimes. Because like the story in it is just genuinely really sad, and it like changes sometimes like how I interact with people. And like the one game that like really did that to me was Night in the Woods. And it just genuinely changed my life, and I was a little bit more open to like how I am and to who I want to be. And it was just so life-changing. Like so many games did that for me. Like it completely inspired me to becoming who I am today. And media like that is genuinely a good way to like be around people you can trust. obviously focusing on the negatives, like, oh, what if this person I'm hanging out with turns out to be a terrible person behind the scenes? Like, what if he just does a criminal act? Don't focus on that. You're focusing on the negatives, and focusing on the negatives will make you s- like think about like who you're around. It's like, can you really trust these people? Like, you're gonna be like that, and that's not what you want. That's not what you want at all. Like, just be around people until like eventually, like, something happens, drama happens, something like that within the group, and it doesn't matter. Just try to solve it. Just try to like figure it out on your own, because obviously when you're around a group that you've trusted for so long, you obviously want to keep that group. You obviously want to keep that group maintained to its regular state, not this state where like drama happens every now and then. You don't want that. So just do the best you can to talk to those people, and do the best you can to let people know what they're doing and what effects they're having onto these people. And that's what you want. You want to make sure everything's all fine and dandy, because obviously everything might not be just sunshine and rainbows, but you have to make sure you want it to be sunshine and rainbows. You want positivity around the world and a bunch of other things, and you have to be grateful to who you're around. And I want people to understand that even if they're going through something, they like obviously have the strength to overcome it, including those that happen in groups, like friend groups or something like that. You have the strength and courage to make them overcome like different problems throughout the group, and like different like people are separate, like they're in different servers and other things. Like you just have to learn to live with it. Because I have friends that completely despise servers that I'm in. Like there's 3 servers. I now have 2, because I'm not in the other one anymore, because I've explained that like I just cut someone off, and then there's but the other 2, one of my friends just hates that we're in another server, because I'm only in that server because it's a lot less chaotic. However, we just act the same. We act the same way as we were in the other server, so it doesn't really matter. But the only difference is we don't have the same amount of people as back then, like in the other server. And they hate it for that? Why? Like, just because we have like a friend there that is not in this server that I have, but is in this other server that I'm in, I could just interact with them there. And when we're around that person, they obviously have like things that they don't want to hear and stuff like that, and they go on and on about it. But like with that other server, we just talk about whatever we want. And the problem is, it's always driving off of negativity, and that's what I hate. But I love to be around people that are spreading positivity. And it's always to like constant bringing ups of like all these sort of things, and that's what I hate. I hate things being brought up from people and a bunch of other things. But jokes are fine. Like things that happen that are jokes, that's completely fine. But if they're affected by that joke being constantly being brought up, then I just stop. Obviously, because I want to do that. I want to like make sure. Oh, am I going too far with this? Am I like taking a toll on someone with me making this joke? And I just stop. It happened to me with another friend, but that's another time to talk about, because I feel I rambled on long enough, and I feel I fished too much. um, but other than that, yeah, this was kind of a little follow-up video to like what I talked about back then, and with the things I talked about, and hopefully open people's eyes to like what I really gone through, and from what interactions we have in some of the servers, just sometimes reminds me of what I've gone through and other things as well, and I hope that all of you can understand that. because I obviously had a bad past. Some of you have had a bad past, if not all of you. And I'm sorry that you've gone through all of that. And I just want to let you know that you're not alone with feeling that sort of way. And you're not alone with just beating yourself up until you eventually get over something. Because I still do that. I have to still live with constant regrets that I always beat myself up about. And it kind of sucks. And I obviously don't want the same things to happen to all of you. And I just want to be there for you guys. I want to be there to just completely help all of you. And I want to make sure me talking about this and me talking about like my past can obviously shed a light to those to learn to live with these events in mind, but to not be affected by it anymore because you're over it. And with all this being affected, you just don't want that ever to ever affect you and the way you interact with people ever again. And that's pretty much all I want to talk about. That's basically it. And hopefully this can shed a light on my past and what I'm affected by and a bunch of other things. And to those who have talked to me about the video, the first video and the web fishing thing, hopefully, I hope you guys enjoy this one as well. But obviously it's gonna be focused on me, but to those who gave me a response in the first video, thank you so much for talking to me about it. Even if it was just a simple message, just just understanding everything that I have gone through and stuff like that. I really appreciate every single response that you guys have given me, and I hope to make more of these soon. I hope to shed some light on more topics and to hopefully bring you guys some advice and to hopefully bring you guys some help, because I would want to be there for all of you, even those who aren't my friends. I want to spread messages and positivity to those, and I'm very grateful for everything that you guys have given me throughout this time here, because obviously I wouldn't be here without all of your guys' support, and I thank you guys very much for it. So that's about it for this time on I already forgot the name. Yeah, talking about life and junk while playing web fishing. This is it for this part. And I hope to see you guys in the next part where I talk about other things as well. Who knows? We'll see when we get there. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to me ramble. If you have a background tab or not, just listening to this with audio. But I appreciate everything. Thank you guys so much. Peace out, y'all. Bye-bye.